Yeah, good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to today's class, and I hope that we get as much as we actually cover everything we're supposed to cover today. Okay, yesterday's lecture was a little bit rushed, so I'm going to take time out and just briefly go through everything we actually did yesterday. All right, so today we are supposed to start our graphic section of the website, give the website a little bit of beauty, and actually give us an opportunity to appreciate everything we've been working on for the past 1 week or 1 week plus now. But before we get started, I got a couple of private questions asked. Some people probably did not have not yet followed up to this point that we are. So I'm just going to take 5 minutes or so less just to briefly go through what we've done so far. Okay, so as usual, we are working with Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is responsible for it's our chosen text editor. And on the left side of the Visual Studio Code, we have the Explorer panel. The Explorer panel is going to allows us to view our files. It allows us to create new files. We can right click and create a new file and call it, let's say, james.html. It's saved. We can type in our codes and Control S to save. I'll go ahead and do that. Don't need that. Okay. And our file is called index.html, and I'm actually making use of a plugin called Live Server. I think a lot of people, their network is quite bad. People are going on and off. Okay, I'm actually making use of a plugin called Live Server, and you can get the Live Server extension or plugin from the leftmost corner of Visual Studio Code. You click on it, it takes you to the marketplace, extension marketplace, and you can type Live Server. Okay, and this is the server I'm actually you can click and install. And when you're ready to make use of it, you right click on the section of your page where you want to make use of it, and open, right click and click open with Live Server. Okay, close the panel to the left here. As I explained earlier, we have our HTML documents are grouped into the header, the body, and the footer section. And within the footer section, we have different sections that might go into the header. The header is for the heading of whatever division we're making use of, or whatever section we're making use of. The section represents a section of the website, and the article that I gave in the assignment represents an article within a section. And that's basically it. We also have a link up here that links to the cloud of Font Awesome that allows us to call icons from the Font Awesome cloud website. And we also have a link that links directly to our locally hosted style sheets. And CSS files are saved with .css, like the HTML files are saved with .html. So we have one called the style.css. You can give whatever name you like. But as I said earlier yesterday, it's good to keep your naming convention close to what you're actually making use, what you're actually making the file for. Okay, I think that's basically it. What else? We created a couple of sections yesterday. We worked on the header section, the menu section. We worked on the information, and we created a couple of gym equipments. Now, here's the thing. The CSS section of this course is going to be a little bit complex. So after complex, but not difficult to grab. So after we're done with today, I'm not sure if we're going to have a class on Monday because I need to take time out and structure a separate tutorial of a section of CSS called Flexbox that I'll upload on the YouTube channel. And after recording that, when people are done with that, ask questions based on that, then we can continue the tutorial, because it's going to be impossible to actually grab the remaining section of this tutorial without actually understanding what Flexbox is. You can take time out and read the CSS Flexbox. It's a two-dimensional way of representing divisions or styles on a web page. Okay, so let's get straight to the CSS section of this website. I'm going to expand this a little bit. I'm going to expand the browser a little bit and move Visual Studio Code. Okay, let's give the browser a full width. Wow, wait, I'll be just a little bit. Okay, let's look at this. We're going to open here and open the CSS file. We can close our panel back. Control B or Command B on the Mac computer. I want to believe you can still see my screen, right? Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, now the CSS has a universal selector that is done with us. Okay, CSS has a universal selector done that's carried out with asterisks. That means if you write asterisks, you're selecting every element on your HTML document. You're selecting every section of your HTML document. So we're going to do a universal selector and open it and close it. In CSS, the opening and closing tag is done with two curly bracelets. The left curly bracelet and the right curly bracelet. The left is for opening and the right is for closing. And whatever statement you type in your CSS document is terminated with a semicolon. For example, let's assume we have a background. The mic is making it difficult, right? Let's assume we have background. I will put, let's just say, I'm just typing it in. We'll put semicolon to terminate it. That's basically what we have. So now we're going to select every element. We're going to use the universal selector, select every element within and every element and tag within the CSS and give it a default styling. That's basically why we're calling everything. We want to reset all the styling on the CSS page back to its default state. If you were to right click on your web browser and select inspect, it's going to open a new window. This window is called the developer console. As a developer or a programmer or a web designer, this window is actually going to be very useful to you. Under the developer console, we have the network tab that we can use to monitor our network requests. We have the source tab that we can use to view our files and check exactly how it works. We have the console tab that we can use to write JavaScript files. Simple JavaScript files. You can write alert, hello, welcome. We click enter, brings up a dialog box, hello, welcome. So we can actually run live JavaScript files in the console section of the developer console. And we also have the element section where we can use to check styles or events that styles or actions or CSS events that are tied to a specific element. For example, if we click on the header element here, you can see the style that is tied to it. It has a display CSS display instruction of block, display of block elements and all that. So let's not go too deep into that. Okay, I actually came here for a different reason. If we click on other elements, let's see the paragraph element. We have a paragraph here. Yeah. You can see the paragraph already has a default styling. Every element has its browser-based styling. So basically, while we're having the universal selector, we want to overwrite most of all this styling that's going to affect the design of our websites. Let's close the developer console and go back to Visual Studio Code. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is add a padding of 0. And padding of 0, then a margin of 0. Then we're going to have a box sizing of border box. You might be wondering what exactly, okay, that didn't take effect. Supposed to change things here. Why didn't that take effect? Let's go back to that. Okay, I think our CSS file is not properly linked. That's why. Supposed to have it's within a folder called style. Within a folder called style and then CSS. Yeah, that's why it didn't take effect. So let's save that. Wow, you can see that. You can see the changes, right? So let me clear that out and do that again. If I was to comment this out in CSS, comments are done differently than HTML. Unlike the HTML, CSS comments are done with a / asterisk, followed by an asterisk and another /. Everything within the / asterisk, everything within the 2 asterisks and the / will not be executed when your website runs. I commented out the entire selection with just there. You can see the website has gone back to its default styling. And if I was to remove that again, remove out the entire styling and save, you can see that's taking effect. So basically what we did is we took out the padding, with padding and we took out the padding and margin setting of the entire web page. So all the files, all the elements and tags are compressed together. So why I did this is I want to take all the elements to their default styling. I want to take away their default styling and now put the stylings that I want to work with. I don't want anything to interrupt my own personal styles. Okay, yeah, exactly. Okay, so if I click on the body section now, you can see the entire body section being selected, right? If we click on the head section, okay, the non-visual is not going to show. If we click on the header section, the entire header section is being selected, right? We click on the equipment section, the entire equipment section is being selected. Now we click on the header section within the equipment section. This is the equipment section, this is the header section. We click on the header section within the equipment section and we are seeing it being selected and the image is also being selected. So basically, when I came on the Mozilla browser, I want you to give you a pictorial view of when we select divs, what it actually looks like, how large the div expands on the page. For example, if you're looking at this header, you can see it expands from the left side down to the right side. It's covering in width, it's covering the entire page, but in height, it's not covering the entire page. It's about 980 pixels in so it's about 173 pixels in height and about 980 pixels in width. Okay, is there anything I'd like to show you here? That's what I'll show you here. Okay, I think that should be fine for now. That should be fine. That should be fine for now. So let's head back over to Google Chrome. So, okay, I think we should pause the video first of all. Let's pause it here, and let's be sure that everybody even understands the point where we are. So, if you have any question regarding what we've said, you can unmute your mic and ask quickly. We'll go on with the other side of the page.
Okay, can we see the link where the style is actually connected?
So again, I didn't get your question.
The link in the HTML document that connects the style sheets.
Here's the link over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you can have as many links as possible. Then, because like the other link on top is a link from the font also that we use for the icon. So this other link now that connects it to this other style sheet now. So if you like to, you have like 3 or 4 links and probably there's some kind of conflict. So what happens in that case?
You can have as many styles as you want. But if you remember, I think it was the first lecture or the second lecture, I mentioned that when CSS files are being executed, the successor has priority over the predecessor. For example, if I have another CSS style link here now, and it overwrites some characteristics of the previous one, the changes of the second style sheet is actually going to overwrite the first one. It's going to have priority over it.
Oh, okay.
So you can have as many as you want, but just make sure that it's properly structured in a way that they won't be overwriting each other.
All right, thanks.
Any other question? All right. All right, so okay, so we'll keep going. Okay, so the next section, the next part of the HTML document that we need to start is the body tag. Remember, after the header we had a body tag. We're giving general styling now, and we're going to have a color of 00000. That's black in hexadecimal colors. I'm just emphasizing it. The default color was already black, but I just decided to emphasize it. And when you're writing hexadecimal codes and all the 6 digits are all the same, you can shorten it to 3, and it's still going to give you the same results. Okay, then I'm going to make use of a font family. The fonts, we're going to give the website a default font to work with. And my mic is interrupting my typing. Family. Okay, and we're going to say, let's use Open Sans. And if that's not available, then we can use sans serif. That comes with basically all computers. So even if you don't have Open Sans on your computer, it's going to result in using sans serif. I saved it. You can see that as I saved it, the font actually changed. Let's take it back. Look at the fonts. Just keep your eyes on the font of the website, and I save, and you can see that's changed. Now we're going to have a background color. a background of white. That's triple F give you white. And we're going to have a line height to give a little bit of vertical spacing among the elements. And let's give it 1.8. You can play around with this just to be sure you get that feel that you want 2.8. You see, it's more than that. Give it a 5, 4 points. You get what I'm saying? So, but like 1.8 seems fair enough. Yeah, it seems fair enough. Just to give you that feel of not being too close to each other. Then let's start. What element comes next? Let's see what element comes next. What element comes next? We just start like starting the general body. Okay, we have a header with the class of main. For those that asked me how we are going to make use of the classes. So let's start the header now. Dot main. Dot main, and let's give it a background first. A background image. Let's give it a background image URL. This syntax is basically they don't change. So it's just depending on the value you want to pass with these syntaxes. So we have a background of URL, and then we're going to link that to our workout.jpg. We already have this file saved here. That's workoutkit.jpg. Close that. Workoutkit.jpg. Save it. You can see the image at the back. You can see the image, right? That's the image you just put in there. Okay, let's use no repeat to prevent it from trying to repeat itself. Save, nothing changes. Let's center it. Okay, we centered it. You can see the image has changed. Okay, then I think we should bring it down. We will bring it down a little bit and center it within the container. So we say that should be center cover and save. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, it's still a little bit up. Should have come down. Okay, let's give it a height of 100 viewpoint height. That's like giving it allowing it to occupy 100% of the vertical height of its parent container. Let's say height of 100 view height. So yeah, exactly. That's like it. So you can see it has come down. The website is really looking better. With Visual Studio Code, and let's change the color of the text to white. I don't want to be black. Let's make it white. Exactly. Perfect. I think I'm good to go. I think I'm good to go. So, but if you're looking at this image right now, it looks a little bit too bright. So I think what should come to your mind is if you had a way of making this image a little bit darker, and it's almost going to be impossible because it's already a JPEG image. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass a color above the image and make the color transparent. So I think that should make sense. That makes a little bit of sense, I think so. So let's give it a shot and see. Okay, so another thing you need to know is when you're referencing elements and within a HTML document, for example, let's say we want to reference this cover class now, right? The cover class is within the main header. Just for cleaner designs, you can say header. So you can say main dot cover. So someone that is seeing this code is going to know that the cover class is between the main is under the main class. You can as well just remove the main and it will still reference the cover class directly. But as a general rule of thumb, this is actually how you're supposed to write your CSS code. Okay, I said we want to pass a color. Let's give background. Now this way, everything we learned in primary school comes in. The primary colors we talk about red, green, and blue. So all those things come in play here. RGBA. The A stands for the level of transparency. So we're going to have RGBA of 0, 0, 0. I expected very dark. Oh, that's dark. Okay. That's actually very dark. Let's give it a transparency of 0.9 and see what that looks like. No, still very dark. Okay, I think the closer is transparency goes from I think 0 to 1. So the closer you get to 1, the darker it's going to be. So let's make this 5. Exactly. That's exactly what I wanted. So I want to push the image, make it look as if the image has been pushed to the back. It's not when someone comes to the website, it's not going to be the main focus of the image. Now we did something earlier. We gave the height of our image, the viewport height of 100. So that means we need to extend this background cover to cover the image. I'm sure you can guess how we can do that. Let's give 100% and width of 100%. Right? Save exactly, and we're good to go. You can play around with it. You can make it lighter, give it 0.3. So that's 0.3 is too light. It still brings out that unnecessary dark color. So let's leave it as 0.5. The image isn't a key part of the website. Someone is just supposed to come to the website and not spend so much time focusing on the image or the text. That's why we have the text as white. Remember, I made the text white earlier on and it wasn't looking too good. So if we were to take this out, we're going to appreciate, look how the white looks. So now you can appreciate why I covered the image with another color and made it transparent. Okay. So after this section after this code we've written, the other parts of the CSS code is going to be done mainly with, we're going to start positioning elements on the website. Move this to the left, move this to the right. And we're going to do that. It's pointless teaching you the old way it used to be done with floats, just a float right, float left. Those stuff still work, but they're not useful in modern day websites anymore because there are easier ways to do. So it's pointless teaching you all that. Then you have to go back and go and relearn modern technology. So I'll teach you with Flexbox. And before I teach you with Flexbox, I need to do a detailed explanation of how Flexbox works. I'm going to make a separate video that's not going to be live, and I will upload it to the YouTube channel for you to take time out and watch it before we get back. I think I should be able to do that before Tuesday next week. So we'll pause the video once more and let's weigh our level of understanding, how much we've actually understood what's going on. So it's over to you. Ask your questions, corrections, point out. I'm sure you can make some corrections right now. So let's go.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Okay, Paul.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to ask, looking at your CSS styling, everything you've done, everything seems to be like magic at the moment because you were bringing a lot of stuff from your head that we don't know how you came about, but it's obvious that as a result of your long time work with web development and all that, you already have those elements or tags, I don't know what to call them, on your head already. But for us beginners, if we want to style now, how do we come about, playing around with some of those elements or tag? For example, you want to do background color or do something, you want to do something, you have an idea of what you want to do, but how do you go about knowing the right word to put to give you the effect you want to get?
Okay. How do we do this now? Let's okay. Do you have anything in mind that you want to do right now? Just give me an example. Should we pick up let's pick up a button and style it, right? Paul?
Yeah, you can try something I explain. My concern is mostly it's not even about what to do, but how to do what you want to do. For example, like you said, pick up a button and style it. I know that I want to style a button, maybe I want to give it a certain color, a certain feel and all that. But how do I know what to put in order to get that effect? Maybe you can explain more on that.
Okay. The first thing you need to understand is just like when we're doing HTML, we mentioned that we have a lot of tags out there. I think CSS even has more tags. Let me not call them tags. Let's say we have more keywords or more reserved functions in CSS than HTML, because CSS is basically trying to beautify the web page. For example, if you open a lady's makeup bag, you see maybe hairbrushes, something to shape her eyebrows. You see a hairbrush. You're going to see maybe mascara. You will see this. You get now. It's now left for you to know what each of these tools does at a specific time. Reach into your toolbox, pull it out, and make use of it. So now the question is, how do you know what each of these tools can actually do? There is no shortcut to it. 1, practice. 2, experience. 3, research. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you that you're just going to wake up one morning and you're going to know all these tools. I'm actually very new to front end development. I'm actually very new to front end development. I've spent most of my years writing back end code. That's code that actually interacts with the server. I spent less than 7 months doing front end development. So for me to be able to design this, that means you two can also design it. I don't have that much experience with front end development. I just recently got bored of back end and tried to learn front end development. So the point is, if I can do it, that means you can do it. The only thing that you just need to do is practice, practice, practice. And if for example now we say let's go and type CSS in the browser. Okay, W3 School has a very detailed course on CSS. You can actually read through it. It will take you a while to read through it because it's quite deep. But you can actually read through. But when you can see from home, you read through it. So everything I'm doing, you're going to see there. You can see how much it is. But when it comes to programming, there is no substitute for practice. And I usually tell people, Google is your friend. When you're stuck, let's say you say, I want to style a button in CSS somewhere. Okay, you can see someone say, okay, basic styling link like a boss. You go down, okay, so I want to start. I want to start. How do I style a button in CSS? You go down, you read through, you look at other people's examples and learn from it. You get. But the next time you want to style another button, you're probably not going to need to go back to Google and say, I want to style a button in CSS. Then you try out new things. Since we're on the case of styling a button, let's insert the button somewhere into this page and just see what we can do with it. Anyway, okay, let's use. Oh, we have 10 minutes more. Regardless, so yeah, I think the network is going to disconnect any moment from now. So please, if it disconnects, you just reconnect back. I'll be here. So let's say we have a span. I just want to use a span element. Let's do. I'm looking for something that we've not made. So let's give an idea of folder and put a button. Can we use a button? Input button. Yeah, that's button and give the value of we are file. Save on the page. Imagine this guy is trying to rob us of our position. The button is showing here. Okay. I don't know if you can see the button up there, right? We are styling it. Can you see it? You can see it. Let me know. Okay. Okay, favor, so what's the meaning of the padding and the margin? What's the meaning of padding? Okay, I'll get to that. Okay, I'll get to that. Let me just finish the button. Can you see the button up here? Yes, okay, so let's get straight to the button. Okay, so we want to style the button now. And the first thing that's going to come to your mind, you're developing, right? So the first thing that's going to come to your mind, we have a button, for example, and Favor was just asking the question. He said, what's the meaning of the padding and the styling? So we have a button, and you can see that the button is too close to the edge, right? Okay, now, the margin is the distance between the object you are working with and the general web page, or the general browser. That's the body of the web page. That's the margin. Now, the padding is the internal spacing within the object. Let me show you what I mean. So let's say we call it holder. What do we call it? Was it holder or holder? We called it holder. Yeah. So let's give it let's work with the idea of holder. Okay, let's give a margin first of 100 pixel. See, you can see that, right? The button is not affected generally. The text within the button is not affected. Now, what this dot did was that it created 100 pixels to the left, to the right, to the left, to the top, to the right, and to the bottom of the page. That's the left, right, top, bottom. Just generally created out. Let's see if we can center using text align. Text align. Center. Okay, yeah. I just wanted to move to the center of the page. So you can see we have like about 100 pixels all around the bottom. Let's move that and take it back to where we can easily see without it blocking the screen. So let's see what padding is going to look like now. If you type padding, 100 pixel, see. Still push that out too much. Okay. Okay, let me give it. Let's give it a border. Let's give let's give it a border. So you can see what we're working with border. Let's make it 2 pixels solid and red. Save. Okay. Now you can see the border of the container. I made a mistake. I was applying the padding directly to the container, not the button itself. That was a mistake. So now you can see the border, so you can see where the styling is housed. Now let's go directly to the button now, and I work with that input. That's to say that the input element within the holder tag. Let's give it a margin of 100%. Save. Let's remove. Let's give it a padding of 100%. Save. That's the best explanation between of padding and margin. So the margin, let me remove the padding. The margin creates the space, talks about the space outside the element you're working with. Let's say that, remove that. While the padding handles the space within the elements. So if you're saying a padding of 100 pixels, that means 100 pixels all around the element. If you're saying a margin of all around within the element, if you're saying a margin of 100 pixels, that's 100 pixels all around outside the element. If I go on to continue to style that, okay, favor exactly, or you need further clarification. Is it clear? Yeah, it's clear. All right. Okay, so now Paul was asking. He said, "How can we think of a way to style our elements?" See, when it comes to programming, your designs, your codes are limited to your level of creativity. You probably cannot code beyond how creative you can get. So I advise people to be as creative as you can. Think of anything. If you can think of it, it can probably be done on your computer screen. That's just the truth. So for example, let's say, let's make this margin 50 pixels, make the padding 10 pixels. All right, yeah. Okay, so we want to give it a border of green. We have border already, and border takes 3 elements. It takes the width of the border. We're going to make it 2 pixels. It takes the style of the border. We're going to make it solid. And the color of the border is supposed to be, let's make it blue. That's all. It can also have, it can also be dotted. Save, and it changes the style of the dotted. You can also increase the width of the dotted lines, and that's it. We can say we can change the background color to black. That's triple zero. Save with black. Let's say, okay, we'll change the text to white so you can see it. Save. So you just have to read out the keywords you get. You just have to read out all these keywords. It's one thing to read it out. It's one thing to know where to apply it. Okay, I will share after this tutorial. I'm going to share a video where I actually create. I didn't talk in that video. I just coded along. So I don't think it's going to be much useful for you. I actually built a contact us form from scratch without using any modern CSS technique. But I didn't actually talk in that video. I was just coding along, so you can just watch it. But you can't actually do anything. So basically, I think that's just how it works. If you can think about it, you think about it, then you try and figure out a keyword that's supposed to go with it. If you're something like maybe we want to say when we hover over this button, let everything reverse back to normal. Let the background go back to white, and then the text go back to black. And we can now copy this back, and we put what we call a pseudo selector called hover. Close it, and we say when we hover over it, let the background become white. There are some colors you can actually write the colors out, but just as a general rule of thumb, if you're going to stick to hexadecimal colors, you stick to it. If you're going to use the color spelled out, you stick to that. Don't mix both of them in one project. Then you change the color back to black. Still going to give you the same effect. So when I hover, see that? Hover, see that? Hover? Yep. So that's basically it. CSS is a beautiful thing. And you can say, okay, you can say, okay, it's changing too fast. Okay, it's taking too fast. It's obvious that it's switching. So you want to slow it down. You can say transition and give it 1 second. And if you want it to slow down while it changes, you can see that. You see that effect? You notice it? So you can say, let's make it transition. Let's see 3 seconds. It's going to take 3 seconds to change. See that, right? Yeah. So that's just why. So if you can think of it, you can do it. There's probably a code that already handles that. We have less than 1 minute, so I'll end the lecture here and you reconnect and I'll join you back.